This video, we are going to learn how to create different types of pivot charts in Excel. Starting from simple column charts all the way to combo charts, slicers, stacked charts, pie charts, donut charts, and line charts. By the end of this tutorial, you'll know how to transform pivot tables into professional, presentable, and insightful charts that can be used for reporting, presentations, and business analysis. To start with a pivot chart, we first need to have a pivot table. Here we have the pivot table of payment method with sum of total sales. This shows that with the card we had sales equal to 6,338, and with UPI, we had total sales equal to 6,211. To make a pivot chart out of this, first we make sure any cell of the pivot table is selected. Then we go to the Insert tab and click on Column Chart. Since that's the most basic chart we all learn when starting with Excel charts, we'll select a 2-dimensional column chart. After clicking, Excel generates a chart with values on the vertical axis and text on the horizontal axis. To make this chart look presentable and professional, we start by removing the legend. In this case, the legend only shows the word total, which doesn't add any value. We click the chart, go to the Chart tab, then select Legend and click None. Next, I personally don't prefer grid lines in column charts because they clutter the visual. So again, in the Chart tab, I select Grid Lines, then Primary Horizontal Grid Line and click None. Now the grid lines are gone. Our chart title also needs to be changed because right now it only shows the generic word total. So we select the chart title from the Chart tab, click Edit Chart Title, and rename it to Total Sales by Payment Method. We can also format this title by changing the font, adjusting the size, bolding, italicizing, underlining, or even changing the font color and background. Another way of editing the chart title is through the Format tab, where we again have the option to type a custom title and choose its position. I prefer keeping the chart title above the chart, not as an overlay, because it looks much cleaner. Now to change the chart color, we click on Format, go to the Series drop-down, then Fill, and select a new color. For this chart, I'll choose Orange Accent 2. Now our columns look much better. Finally, we can resize the chart by dragging the dots around the border. For a bar chart, the process is similar. This time we are working with a pivot table of payment method with the average of total sales. We select a cell inside the pivot table, go to the Insert tab, and click on a 2-dimensional bar chart. After the chart appears, we again remove the legends, adjust the title, and format the bars. Unlike column charts, I like to keep grid lines in bar charts because they help me better understand the actual amounts. Another useful feature is that whenever I hover my cursor over a bar, Excel shows me the exact value. For example, hovering over the wallet bar shows me the average of total sales for wallet equal to 48.81, while hovering over the card bar shows average sales equal to 49.90. Now, let's move on to a stacked column chart. Our pivot table here contains month, payment method, and average of total sales. We select a cell, go to Insert, and choose Stacked Column. This chart now shows months like January, February, and March on the horizontal axis and the average total sales on the vertical axis, with separate colored sections for card, cash, UPI, and wallet. Hovering over any section shows clear values, for example, the exact sales average for card in February. To improve readability, we can format the chart title and adjust the axis. Right now, the vertical axis maximum is set to 250 even though the highest value in our data is just under 200. By changing the maximum bound to 200, the chart fills more appropriately. To make it even better, we observe that none of the values are below 40, so we can set the minimum bound to 35. This makes the chart look sharper and easier to interpret. Next, we'll work with line charts. Here we have a pivot table showing payment method and sum of total sales across 4 branches: Botanical Lane, Central, East Side, and West End. To create the chart, we click inside the pivot table, go to Insert, and select a 2-dimensional line chart. At first, This chart looks overwhelming because it shows 4 lines for each branch across 4 payment methods. To make it manageable, we can use a slicer. A slicer lets us filter data visually by clicking. For example, if we insert a slicer for payment method, we'll see options for card, cash, UPI, and wallet. Clicking on card filters both the pivot table and the line chart to show only card data. We can clear the filter or multi, select to compare multiple methods, like cash and wallet together. The slicer itself can be resized and styled to match the chart color theme, which makes the whole dashboard look cleaner and interactive. For pie charts, we'll use the pivot table of product category by branch with sum of gross margin. After selecting a cell inside the pivot table, we go to Insert and choose a 2-dimensional pie chart. At first, values are only visible when hovering, so to show them permanently, we add data labels. I prefer placing them at the outside end, so values are clear and not overlapping. To style the pie, we can click on each slice individually and use the fill option to assign colors. This is especially useful when a business has brand colors they want to highlight. Instead of random colors, we can choose a consistent palette, like shades of orange, to make the chart professional. Now let's look at a stacked bar chart. Our pivot table here shows branch by month with profit percentage difference from January. For example, in Botanical Lane, February profit decreased by 14.4% compared to January, while Central Branch showed an increase of 3.5%. To visualize this, we select a stacked bar chart. On the horizontal axis, we now see both positive and negative values, which helps us immediately see profit increases and decreases by branch and month. Next, we'll create a donut chart. This chart is based on payment method and sum of profit, displayed as a percentage of the total. For example, card contributes 25% of total profit, while cash contributes 23%. After inserting a donut chart, we can rename it, and just like the pie chart, we can click each slice to change the fill color. Data labels can be added to show percentages directly. Now, we move on to a combo chart, which is especially useful with larger pivot tables. Here we have payment method, branch, month, and total sales together. This is a lot of data, but Excel's combo chart makes it easier to digest. We select column clustered line as our combo chart. In this chart, card and cash appear as columns, while wallet and UPI appear as lines. To make it more interactive, we add 2 slicers, one for branch and one for payment method. This allows us to quickly filter down. For example, we can select Botanical Lane with card and see January, February, and March sales for that branch and method. We can even select to compare branches or methods. Finally, let's look at stacked line charts. Our pivot table here contains product category, payment method, and sum of total sales. A regular line chart makes the lines overlap and difficult to read, but switching to a stacked line chart solves this problem. Now, the values are layered in order, making it easy to see which methods dominate. For instance, wallet appears at the top, showing that most sales are happening through wallet, followed by UPI, cash, and card. To make column charts display in order, we can also use the sort function inside the pivot table. By clicking on values and selecting sort descending, we can arrange categories from highest to lowest. For example, dried flowers lead with total sales equal to 6,759, followed by succulents, bouquets, and finally potted plants. And that's how you can create a wide variety of pivot charts in Excel: column charts, bar charts, stacked columns, line charts with slicers, pie and donut charts, stacked bars, combo charts, and even sorted stacked lines. Each of these gives you a different perspective on your data and helps make your analysis both professional and visually appealing. If you found this tutorial helpful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others who might benefit from learning Excel. Also, leave a comment below to let me know which chart you find most useful in your own work.